So I'll still be expecting some little bearish move properly into the zone, which is between 99.547 and 99.134. So a proper pullback before we take off. Now, welcome back, guys. You can see how we came into that zone last week with that next bearish candle, and this is the weekly time frame actually. So from here, anything can happen. Remember, from the first week of this month, I said I'm bullish for the month. However, there will be a pullback. If you go back to my first video for the month, you will see all of those analysis. So going into next week, price may just take off from here, and you already know my bullish target is 101.226. So that said, let's go all the way back to the 4-hour time frame. Now on the 4-hour time frame, I'm going to redefine this zone. So now that the zone has been redefined, I will be expecting to see price create something like a double bottom before we take off, with this area, which is 100.272 as our first target. Then if we break above that, our next target is all the way up here. Let me even delete this and make it this. So our next target after taking out 100.272 will be 101.261. All right. So that's what I would like to see on DXY next week. However, what if price wants to bounce off from a lower level? Now, what I would recommend you do is to wait for price to take out 99.120, catch it on the pullback, stop loss above 99.217. Then you can now trade into this target here of 98.696 before hopefully we take off, because I still remain bullish for the month of November. All right, so that's a detailed analysis on DXY. The next on my list is EURUSD. Due to the fact that we closed with a bullish candle for last week, I think on this weekly time frame, price wants to go for a pullback. Now let me show you what I mean. From here, from the bottom to the top, price was creating series of higher highs and higher lows, right? Higher low, equal high at this point. Remember, price is coming from the bottom to the top. This is the top here, right? Then price has now gone on to give us a change in market structure, giving us a new lower low. So what do you think price intends to do? Is trying to come back and retest the newly broken structure before we continue trading to the downside. Welcome back, guys. You can see how price is exactly what was said last week. Price, the last week's candle came into that pullback area. So just like DXY, I will still be anticipating a drop in price. All right, let's go to the 4-hour time frame to look at more detailed analysis. I'm also going to refine this zone like I did on DXY. Okay, good. So I'll be expecting a continuous drop in price. Our initial target on EURUSD, should price fall next week, will be all the way here, which is 1.14723. And if we take that out, our bearish overall target for now is 1.13983. However, if price wants to bounce off or sell off from a higher level, then this zone above will be a good place. So that will mean if price takes out this black zone here, which is what, 1.16689 area, if price breaks out of it, closes on the 4-hour time frame, catch it on the pullback on the 15 minutes time frame, all right, based on your own execution strategy, then you can now trade it to the top here. Target is 1.17114. all right, hopefully before we get a significant drop in price. However, should price break above 1.17202, if price breaks above that next week, that means I will be anticipating a buy for the rest of the month on EURUSD, and target in this case, my target in this case would be 1.18663. all right, but for now I am more bearish than bullish, okay, from these regions once again of 1.16494 and 1.16689. okay. All right, that said, let's go to the next on the list, which is GBPUSD. First of all, let me look at the weekly candle. We close with a bullish candle from this region here. a decent pullback will be for price to come into this area here. Okay, these areas of 1.32764 and 1.32135 before we sell off again. Welcome back, guys. You can see how GBPUSD pulled back into that area. So going into next week, I'll be anticipating a drop in price. All right, so my bearish target will be 1.29869. all right, so let's go to the 4-hour time frame and break it down. I think on the 4-hour time frame also it looks good. Hopefully what I'll recommend is probably you'll be patient for price to attempt this zone again. Once again, 1.32764 and 1.32135 before the sell happens. Therefore, if for whatever reason price breaks above 1.32764, all right, if price breaks above it, wait for the pullback and then anticipate a move into 1.34694. all right, so that is that on GBPUSD. The next on my list is USDJPY. I think I'll be expecting an initial sell before a buy. So these are areas I'll be looking for buys: 153.190 and 152.908. Remember, my bullish target still remains all the way up here, which is 157.714. All right. Welcome back, guys. So on USDJPY, from a few weeks ago, you can see how price came into that pullback of the 153.190 and 152.908 area before making its way into this 154.463 area. Now going into next week, you can see so far that USDJPY is stuck in a range at the moment. Okay, it is stuck in a range, except if you're trading on the lower time frames, or you have a strategy like we have at Let's Trade. You could still take trading opportunities, win or lose within these regions here. Okay, but going into next week for analytic purposes, remember my long-term bullish target for USDJPY has been 157.714. so what I would recommend you do, that's if price continues higher, is to wait for price to take out these areas here. Okay, so this area I'm talking about is for a price to break out of 155.032, then stop loss below 154.743, and a bullish move into my bullish target of 157.714. Okay, and if for whatever reason price decides to drop from here, guys, I will recommend you should be patient for price to take out these regions below, which is below 152.908. Catch it on the pullback, stop loss above 153.190, and then a short bearish move into 151.467. all right, but for now I am leaning towards the bullish side of things, either for price to take out this region and continue higher, or for price to come back and attempt this region, this 153.190 area once again before we take off. Okay, so those are the scenarios I have on USDJPY. The next on my list is GBPJPY. Between these 201.157 and 200.347 before taking off again. Now, if that happens on this 4-hour time frame, our first target will be 203.773 and second target will be 206.092. Welcome back, guys. You can see how GBPJPY traded into our target for last week, which is 203.462. okay, so going into next week, I'll be expecting one of two things. Okay, if price is to continue bullish, you know the drill. I recommend you should be patient. Meanwhile, let me even remodify this zone. I think price has created a new level that shouldn't be ignored. So if price is committed to trading higher, wait for price to break out of 204.200, pull back, stop loss below 203.882, and then a bullish trade into my all-time bullish target for now on GBPJPY, which is 206.092. So these are my bullish areas. The first one above here. The second one will be maybe if price comes for a deeper pullback into this 201.157 area, then we'll be looking for a bullish move back into this area in this case, which is 203.882. All right, so that is that on GBPJPY. The last on my list for this week is gold. Gold has been trending for months now. Of course, it's only normal for it to slow down a bit, catch its momentum, and decide where next to trade. Okay, so for now, you have to be super patient. If you're going with analysis strictly, then I would recommend you wait for price to break out of either of these two zones, just like I analyzed last week. Okay, so yep, you can pause the video and zoom into this right section to copy the values of these lines I have on the chart here, these two most importantly. Then you use this above as target and you use this below as bearish targets too. Bullish target, bearish target. Welcome back, guys. You can see how price broke out of the 4,053.627 area and traded into our target of 4,166.814, right? So that was such an impulsive move to the upside. However, when price came to our target, price tanked again back into the areas of 4,053.627 and 4,020.584. All right, so going into next week, guys, I'll still be expecting a continuous move to the upside with this same area as our initial target, which is 4,206.553 as our initial target. And if we break above it, my next target will be all the way up here, which is 4,369.240. However, if price continues lower after this impulsive drop to the downside, wait for price to kind of like take out this 4-hour zone of 4,020.584. You can catch it on the pullback. Stop loss above 4,053.627 and bearish targets will be 3,896.097. All right, so that is that for this week's analysis. Thanks for staying to the end of this video, and I wish you a successful trading week next week. And also let me know in the comment section down below what you think, what I've analyzed so far is most likely going to do next week. Someone said EURUSD is going to be bullish next week, and it was bullish. Of course, probably the person didn't really watch the whole EURUSD analysis. If not, they would have noticed that I was also bullish, but I was thinking the bearish move was going to also happen next week, which didn't happen. But of course, I anticipated a bullish move into that weekly zone. So if you also think price may do something different, please leave it in the comment section down below. Goodbye, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.